Breaking news.
Drama! Yes, drama when it comes to Manchester United.
It's all kicking off.
Man United won't break the bank for him. And if Man United won't break the bank for him, they've got other targets.
Absolute chaos at Old Trafford. It's got that feeling, yeah? I'm not going to lie, of that defeatist feeling when you go, we're never going to be fixed. We're doomed forever. And maybe that's not the right way to think, but that's how I feel right now. Emotionless. And it is chaos behind the scenes. The Athletic have dropped a big say all, tell all about the lead up to Ruben Amorim being sacked. And as always happens, whether it's briefings or whether it's the journalists can now go speak to the sources who want to remain, anonymous to protect their, relationships with the club. But we're going to hear about it. And there is some big, big stuff. I want to know where you guys still sit on this, because in the fallout of this, you get people saying, you clueless, you don't know nothing. How can you think it's Ruben's fault? These guys above him are incompetent, which is true. But there's other people that are saying, listen, this guy was a poor manager. He had a terrible record and he is not good enough. It's that simple. They're both culpable. Let me know where you petition this blame. For me, Ineos are more culpable than anyone because they are the decision makers. They're the people who put people in power and they've got every single decision wrong. However, Ruben Amorim, let's not get it twisted. His record was awful. Stop the revisionism already. He had a crap record. He broke all the records for the wrong reasons and we didn't make enough progress. It's that simple. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new people. Big up to yourselves. It's all going off. As a man once said on this channel, it's all going off.
Yes, indeed, it is all going off. Good morning, folks. How are we all doing? The Athletic drop a, as Flex says, a tell-all article. Maybe some sides trying to save a little bit of face, whether it's Ruben Amorim, whether it's Ineos. Speaking of saving a bit of face, Flex, I was up late last night. I did the Raw watch along, Stranger Things edition of Raw. And I'll be honest.
What happened? Was there like Demogorgons in the thing? Like what?
They just put some vines around ringside. And
was there any Mind Slayers around the thing? No.
Mind Slayers, Flex.
Mind Flayers, sorry. Mind Flayers.
Yes.
Mind Flayers.
Yes.
Mind Flayers. Let me
Yes.
catch up. Mind Flayers.
There was not. And because of I'm operating on maybe like 2.5 hours sleep this morning, don't really have a segue. So insert Optimum segue here. Roll VT.
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. 2 of our own. OWEN lost over 100 pounds in 10 months and KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds. And Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Yes, let's get to work indeed. You can scan that QR code right there in that sidebar right there. And you can save up to 70% off your first order. You can get Optimum Day, which is good for your weight loss goals. You can get your Optimum Night, which is good for your restorative sleep. You can get them individually or combined, any which way you please. As always, all the information is in the video description below. Links are in the chat. You can get Optimized today. And Flex, you know what? I've got a promise for you and the rest of the guys here at United.
What is your promise?
Well, it's a promise and it's a bit of honesty. Yeah, it's a bit of honesty.
Oh.
As is always the case when you go on a big weight loss journey, in your Christmas period, you put a little bit on. It happens. You enjoy your Christmas turkey and you enjoy your celebrations and your Haribos and your heroes and your Oreos and you enjoy them a lot, yeah. But now we're into a new year, so watch this space because OWEN Optimized version 2 the better version, the upgrade is coming. Okay, is coming. And what I ask you, the UV community, is: are you going to come along with me? Are you going to come along with me on this journey? Yeah, is that what we're going to be doing? Well, if you are, right there, scan the QR code, get optimized today, and I'll see you in a couple of months' time. You go, bloody hell,
yeah,
I
and you'll
can see
the
it already.
difference. And it'll be roll VT to January 6th. You know what I mean? That's what it will be.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
Look, that's what he says. Clip it.
Clip it.
£100 weight loss again, Owen?
Might die. I might die on that one. That one might be quite. That one might be. You know what I mean? I'll be invisible to the naked eye if that happens. But yes, and we can start together right now. Speaking of starting together, we're starting together with the super chats this morning straight away. Terrence Pace says the hierarchy doesn't care what any of us think and never will. Ranick was right. We need open heart surgery. I am genuinely fed up of having the same convo of another coach sacked every year. Sanjit says, morning, guys. Who do you want next? We have done it all. Moyes, Prem proven, LVG, massive reputation. Jose, serial winner. Ollie, club legend. Ten Hag, a clear philosophy. Ruben, the next big thing. Don't know, mate. To be honest, Sanjit, no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. Matt says, I don't think him being fired is bad, but he was liked by the players. Wow, was he? We'll go to that in a second. My only fear is that this could destabilize the team when we slip further down the table. And Amanor says, why is Jim the Rat telling Amorim to change to a back four? Well, you mentioned that, Amanor. Now, Flex referenced it in the beginning of the show there. A very interesting article, as is always the case when a manager leaves or any player leaves or anything like that. You get the warts and all, don't you? You get the warts and all kind of stuff. And that's exactly what's happened from The Athletic this morning. There is honestly so much to get into in this article. It is ridiculous. Honestly, we probably won't be able to do it in all of this show this morning. We will try our best, right? So you start off by basically going, as these guys are leaving the training ground at Carrington, like this is an unbelievable opening paragraph. When this is the opening paragraph, you know, wow, this is going to be crazy. Shortly after being informed by Manchester United's chief executive, Omar Barada, and director of football, Jason Wilcox, that he had been sacked as the club's head coach at their Carrington training ground, Ruben Amorim packed his things into a box, said his goodbyes, and hurriedly left the building. His assistants were gathering their possessions as some players arrived. They asked the coaches where they were going. Home, they replied. Going home. Jeez. Going home. Now, it also confirms that they're going to get this compensation of around £10 million. This is some of the stuff that this article covers, right? Mm-hmm. It says, The Athletic has spoken to multiple sources with knowledge of the situation at United, and it can be revealed that, when they're going to do a bullet point list, right? Yeah. It can be revealed that tensions between Ruben Amorim and Jason Wilcox came to a head in a heated meeting on Friday over tactics and transfers. They go into more detail on that meeting, and it's wild. It is wild. Minority owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe wanted Amorim to switch to his from his preferred back three to a back four, as did Jason Wilcox. The Glazer family, of course, the majority shareholders, expressed disquiet at United's results as long ago as August.
They can fuck off. Sorry.
Exactly.
You care about the results. Shut up, man.
Yeah. David Gill, otherwise known as Zavid Gill, according to KG, United's former chief executive, questioned the wisdom of Amorim's bomb squad in a football board meeting. There was friction between Ruben Amorim and Christopher Vell, United's director of recruitment, over transfer policy. The head coach, Ruben Amorim, was involved in a training ground confrontation. They were going like face to face, chest to chest with Leacher, Alessandro Martinez, a few weeks ago. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under consideration to return as the club's caretaker manager until the summer, with Johnny Evans also in contention to return to the coaching staff. Now, we'll get into more of those ones, all of that in more detail there. But just initially, from the off there, Flex, when you see all of that, what is your reaction just to it?
My reaction is, you're obviously not surprised that much, though, because of a couple of reasons. One is, like, when somebody gets sacked, it all comes out the woodwork, doesn't it? Like, everything that's been happening. You get briefings from the side of the club as well that might be distasteful to them towards the manager who's just left. So you got to be careful, like, some of the things you read. Like, look at Chelsea went obviously a step way further, but, you know, you start sort of cussing out the character of the person, revealing all these things that happen. But also, it is something where people feel comfortable to speak about. This thing did happen a few weeks ago, where if he was still there, it just gets brushed under the carpet and you carry on. Obviously, now that he's not, people want to speak. So I think it's like a little 6 to 1, half a dozen. Like, you can't believe everything you read, like to the last degree. But you have to understand there's going to be things in there that people want to talk about. Am I shocked at like saying when they're saying they keep wanting to tell him to change the system? We know this. We know that. That's been known for a little while. We've wanted to change every press conference he was getting agitated from the system and doubling down and saying Pope won't let me, and this is my thing. I'll change when I want, not when you say. You media have a say over it. And in the last thing he possibly said, the last thing he actually said before he basically mic dropped and walked out of the presser was name dropped, not by name but by job title, like sporting director. This person that needs to do their job. If you can't take a little bit from Gary Neville, i.e., his criticism of this Man United should be doing this, then we're finished. So he's basically saying, like, all the noise that there is around my system and stuff, you guys have caved it. My end point was you guys sort of listening to that, believing that, and coming to me and saying, listen, we also agree with that. You need to change. From then, that was the beginning of the end. Because he was like, I came here for this. I told you I will do this no matter what. You're right with that, yeah? And that's why I do understand his frustration. You do know that no matter what players we got, until you get me the players I need, you do know that, like, I'm going to play like this, yeah? Yeah, Ruben, we want a for lot. Yeah, we want a free. Yes, mate, we'll back you, yeah. That's why he's thrown his toys out of the pram. Because as soon as he started saying, well, I've realised that to play what I really want to play, it's going to take a lot of money and I don't have that, and time, and I don't have it. So it's them saying, we're not going to give you like money to keep doing this shit. We've changed our minds on this. You do know this, don't you? And he's like, well, fuck you then. That's what's happened.
Well, when it comes to that meeting, yeah, they go into it in detail. We're going to be on top of the supers this morning. B33 says, bring Klopp to coach after the rivalry need winners. Don't think that's going to happen.
Imagine. Would you take him?
I think so. Young Klopp.
Would you take him, or would you be like, no, he's just been Liverpool manager? Like your Man United thing would be like, no. I don't
like. Can he win football matches, Man United? You know what I mean? Can we do that?
Would we take Klopp immediately? Would it be better because it's like look, we got your manager, or is it like, no, he's Liverpool through and through. He's come to sabotage. Don't get him away from us.
I'm like, with that kind of stuff, I know obviously like the rivalry and stuff like that, but if part of it would be like if he was willing to say yes, it is one of those ones where you would just, even if it was just to piss Liverpool fans off, even if he was a flop, I'd be like, well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, he came.
And he told us his Liverpool legacy.
Yeah, and he said he would never do that. He said he wouldn't even manage the Premier League again. Like, then you come back to Man United. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, definitely do it.
Yeah. Tabrez says, first time in my life where an incoming manager doesn't excite me anymore. It could be Emery, and I couldn't care less. These owners don't have a plan. Wow, this is like, let's talk about this meeting, because you kind of mentioned it there, Flex, about the desire or the wants for Ruben Amorim to change and the pressure on him to change from those in positions of power at Manchester United. Now, this is honestly kind of incredible. So they talk about how the seeds have been planted for a while, but there was this encounter of Jason Wilcox on Friday, which I don't know if that was prior to the press conference. Probably it was prior to the press conference, but explain why he was in such a shitty mood. But it says, Amorim, people at United would argue, was the catalyst erupting when discussion turned to tactics and transfers. Amorim had sensed a creep onto his territory during recent weeks, and the result has been described by sources close to the club as a massive fallout between the pair. In their face-to-face meeting at Carrington, Jason Wilcox suggested to Ruben Amorim that the players were struggling to gain trust in his 3-4-2-1 system and had become confused over his vision. Examples of this comes from where Ruben Amorim in recent weeks would train in a back four, only for a back three to be selected in games. So something James spoke about last night on the red carpet, whereby he would basically imply to the players, we're changing, we're going to a back four. And then when the team news comes out, we're going to a back three, guys. And everyone's like, what? What? They also sense he lacked faith in them due to his selections and public statements. I think that could be about some very specific players, couldn't it? Now, Amorim responded that the players needed to be changed. Wilcox said he wanted to work through the issues, evolving the squad over time, but sticking with Amorim. Amorim reacted by saying he wished to leave the club and would be calling his agent. Which is...
it does feel that quick. It does feel like I'm not having this conversation. I'm off. I'm going to fuck it up in the presser and you're going to have to sack me.
And this is one of those ones where again, they're both kind of right. You know what I mean? They're both right. Jason Wilcox and people at Ineos are right to go into Ruben like, look, what you're doing at the moment, it ain't working. It hasn't been working for a year. You need to change. You need to kind of adapt and change the things. We want to work with you. We want to, hand in hand. We're united. Let's do this. But Ruben's also right by going, have you seen these players? Some of these players are shit. You surely know these players are shit. I need to get new players. And fans would say that, right? Fans would say we need to get new players because the players we've got aren't good enough as well. But as many have pointed out, Wayne Rooney and Jamie Carragher and others, they've all looked at that and gone, but Ruben, you don't have the credit in the bank to be making demands of like, I need X, Y, and Z tools at my disposal because you can't, because you've not done it with what you've got in the first place. So like, what? But I do think it is kind of wild that they have this back and forth and then Ruben just goes, yeah, I want to leave. I'm going to call my agent.
Yeah. But do you know what though? And this is hard because we can only go off. Right. The thing with these type of articles is like, like newspapers, you're like,
it's one perspective.
Everything you're in. It's one perspective. But when it's the Athletic, there is a level of credibility that does come with the Athletic. I will say that. Like they're not a tabloid newspaper. They're not with papers and broadsheets, you kind of get a bit skeptical. A couple of journalists maybe trying to. But the Athletic comes with a certain level of credibility where they are very credible. They've got some really good journalists there.
Yeah. And it must be said, this article is like Laurie Whitwell, Mark Critchley, Adam Crafton, David Ornstein. It's all of them. So they've basically got into this huddle, all of them, with all of their sources and pulled it together. Have you heard this? I heard this.
Yeah.
I heard that. And Did you hear that? I heard that.
I know from experience, not saying the thing that it actually is / was, but I know from experience. Make sure you don't, criminate it. I know from experience that how
where you going with
I know people like Laurie, especially Laurie Whitwell. I'll speak for him, and Carl Anker's wicked, but especially Laurie. I know how he fact checks things and run things past people and triple checks and double checks and has the sources where they are in order to be able to put stuff out so it's factual and it's true. I know that firsthand. So I think that it's a situation whereby when you see those type of people that have been assembled together, like you say, they are very credible guys. They're not in it for hype and trying to break a story just to say they're first, but it's not quite accurate. No point even discussing David Ornstein because you know what he's on. Exactly, Carl Anker, everyone who knows Carl knows he's very measured, very knowledgeable, very smart guy, understands his football, but also, doesn't talk shit. Laurie, we all know very well, friend of the channel, but also, a well-respected young aspire. He won't mind us calling him young still. Compared to the other journalists, he's up and coming, but he's very, very reliable. The same with what was it, Mark Critchley?
Yeah.
Is it same thing? Like these guys aren't guys with a track record of trying to make noise where there's no noise and try and sell papers. That's not what these guys are on. So when they talk, I do listen on a personal. You can make your own judgments, but I know some of these personally, and I know what they're about away from this, what you see. They're top guys. So I know for a fact, Laurie ain't attaching his name. Neither is David Ornstein. We all agree with that. Even if you've not met these guys, Carl and that, they're not attaching their name to something that has no credibility. I know this. So I think when you see these things coming out, it is people from the club, like, whistleblowers or, it's always protect anonymity to preserve relationships. Save a bit of face. There is that. Save a bit. It's what happens. Definitely. So I believe it, but that's what I was going to say. So because I believe this, I also, that's back to my point. I went off on a tangent there. Back to the original, what we're saying of like, he heard all of that and said, fuck this, I'm calling my agent, I'm leaving. Like, that is also in line with the man that we've seen.
And the emotion.
Do you know what I mean? Could you imagine, like, sometimes you got to just say, all right, forget what these men say. What do I think myself as my own assessment of the individual that I've seen for the last 14 months? And my assessment of it, I've seen him go, oh, fuck this. I'm gone.
Yeah.
And, I can see him go, Jason, it's no point having this conversation for me. It's really clear. It's really clear. I call my agent. I leave. It's no problem for me. I can see him saying that, bro.
Or just getting up when Jason Wilcox goes, where are you going? I'm calling my agent.
I'm leaving.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
That is the most Ruben thing I can imagine in my head. So whether that's a little bit of conscious bias.
Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the point of writing it. You know,
Exactly.
can you believe that he would do that?
And you lot know in the chat that's what he's on. You know Amorim's on that.
Lil Yo says this proves Amorim's arrogance, forced the sack. But that is also the more that comes out, you do see that he realized the writing was on the wall, and he's like, I'm fucking out of here. I'm out of here. You know what I mean? And whether he was, justified in doing that or not, he was that was the plan. Werewolf Ghost says, I disagree about them suddenly asking him to change. Ruben consistently said he'll evolve from the beginning, so it clearly wasn't all of a sudden. This is maybe a part of where some of this desire to change also comes from, and this actually I do think is quite concerning moving forward, right? So this when it gets to Sir Jim Ratcliffe's influence in all of this as well, and maybe his lack of football knowledge, which has actually been said quite a bit. Sir Jim Ratcliffe made his desire for United to switch to a back four clear, and felt that Wilcox increased his efforts to persuade Amorim to show more flexibility. So really, this is coming from Ratcliffe, and Wilcox is kind of doing Ratcliffe's bidding here. And now, as was said in the super chat there by Werewolf Ghost, United Insider saying evolution was always part of the plan, with Amorim telling officials at the outset he wanted to start with a back three, would add layers once the players better understood his methods. But with Ratcliffe having opinions on the team, things became more delicate. Handling Ratcliffe's input is one of Wilcox's major tasks, which is, again, pretty wild because your major task should be focusing on the team, not what this guy's saying, the money man is saying. But it says Ratcliffe leans on him for his football knowledge, but also expresses thoughts of his own. During the 1-1 draw against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Ratcliffe was visibly angry at the sloppy manner in which United conceded an equaliser before half-time. Earlier in the season, Ratcliffe also proposed playing Brian Mbeumo wing-back.
He wanted to play Brian Mbeumo wing-back. But you know what, though? He's proposed that, which you go, that's fucking stupid. But it's almost the same thing as what Amorim... Well, it is. It's the same thing of what Amorim did to fucking Ahmad. Ahmad was a right winger, and he's gone, well, you're now a right wing-back.
But isn't it... But I suppose the bigger point is there, Flex, isn't it? Again, is that you've got this guy who, yes, he's the minority owner of the club, so he can do to some extent, I suppose, what he pleases in that regard. But this is when you look at Ineos and go, you're full of shit, because don't tell me about best in class, bringing the best guys in, and they know more than I. When he does these interviews, going, look, I'll leave it to them. They're the football man, and I've got my opinions, but I'll leave it to them. Shit. Bullshit. You're telling you're getting in Jason Wilcox's ear, going, I think we should stick to a back four. And Jason Wilcox, because he's like, I cannot believe I'm the director of football at Manchester United, where I was previously director of football at Southampton. So he's going, yeah, all right, I'll lean on Ruben to change. Why? Because that's what Jim wants. And I want to keep my job. So that's what I'm going to do. Even if I know it might not, that's not that it's not the right idea, but the fact that it's coming from him, that's a concern. Once you start getting into that territory of they're telling you how to base, you've got owners of the club telling you basically how to pick the team.
And I don't know fuck all about football.
Wing back. Exactly.
Yeah. But this is where both things are right,
concern.
But this is where both things are right, because they don't know nothing about football, and I go, your credentials, Wilcox, like, get out of here, man. How have you got this job? But at the same time, we ain't got UEFA licenses, but we're looking at what Ruben's doing as well, though, and going, mate, this is dead. This is dead football. Dead. Like, we are saying that. We as fans have been like this. I say we because there's a lot of people that are like, no, leave him. He's evolving. Let him work. So they're really annoyed that this has happened because they don't think Ruben should have got sacked. So I get that. I can't speak for everyone. But I know a lot of us were saying, like, this is dead, man. We're playing free at the back at all times. Even when we're 1-0 down to Everton at home, bro. At home. Like, that shows you, like you say, Sir Alex will be so angry with things like that, where that clip keeps coming up, where he's like, it's about risk. You lose it 2-0 then, but you put someone up front. You get a gambler. Yeah. That's what you got to do. And Gary Neville's been quite smart in referencing the video that Bobby Charlton did. Yeah, about what Man United should be about. Because what Gary Neville's doing now is basically saying the things in the depth that he really wanted to say while Ruben's there, but he wants to be a bit professional. Because now he's talking about basically none of these guys fit our style. Ruben didn't fit our style. Like, he was doomed, basically. He's dead. This is rubbish. But he goes on to say they're all very good coaches because he wants to cover his ass. But he's basically saying none of them fit our philosophy. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be entertained. You're supposed to, the people who go work, pay their money, hard-earned money and stuff like that, to come and be entertained on a Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m. That's what Man United is about. So Ruben Amorim, by being 1-0 down to 10 men and going, no, this is how this will help us in the long run. This will help us. No, fuck that, mate. Take off a centre back, put someone up front, try and cause something to Tarkowski and rubbish Michael Keane, whoever it was on that day. Do you know what I mean? Like, but no, he doesn't do that. So this thing that, like, the hierarchy, looking at it, like, it also, both things are true. It doesn't take someone with great football knowledge to understand that what Amorim was doing was shit, bro. Anyone can look at that and go.
But you know what concerns me though with that, Flex?
You know those guys ain't great. So it's both things are true.
And also what concerns me with that as well is you say, and it's true, you know, anyone with eyes can see that that's wrong and it's not working out, blah, blah, blah. But again, the implication here is that Jason Wilcox was only really sort of starting to truly lean on Ruben Amorim to change to a back four was because that's kind of what Sir Jim wanted. So again, I look at Jason Wilcox and go, what are you doing then? Have you got any opinions of your own? Have you got any, you know, would you be leaning on him as much if Sir Jim wasn't telling you to? Because like you say, Flex, if you've got eyes, surely you would look at that and go, this isn't working. Yeah. Why can't you come to that decision? Why is it Sir Jim that Sir Jim has to tell you?
But here's another one. Here's another one. Sorry, can we pull that back up? Oh, sorry.
I know. This is when Flex touches the buttons. This is when it gets into a disaster. You do it. It's Flex.
I thought it was set up in a way that, like, even I can press it and it works. Right.
There you go. You just press that. There you go.
So even a bit where.
No, by the way, well, the next bit I was going to say with this, because this is where it does get crazy. And this is when you talk about saving face and talking about protecting themselves. So that happens, you know, and on Friday, and it's done, right? It's a situation where it's done. They said that his position was close to untenable after his conduct, prompting this discussion between Ratcliffe and the Glazers in the United States. Barada and Wilcox make the decision. It's supported by the co-owners, and they informed Ruben Amorim Monday morning. This is when you get into saving face. Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox then call a meeting with the players. Wilcox told those listening that the last 2 days had really shocked him.
What some people were like on their phones.
Maybe. But the last 2 days have really the last 2 days, they've really shocked me. He insisted the club had given Amorim what he wanted, but he had made his feelings clear on an exit. We don't understand where the last 48 hours have come from, he told the squad. Wilcox said Amorim had changed and United had to act. So that is proper covering us. That is proper covering us and going like, look, I don't know where this come from. Where has this come from? We were best friends. Everything was fine. Everything's totally fine. Ruben's changed, not us. We haven't changed at all. We would never do that. You can't get the fuck out of here, man. Of course, yeah. Like, don't. Okay, Ruben needed to go. His win record for United is abysmal. Worst Man United manager in Premier League history. Worst manager post Second World War. And that fine. But don't pretend like, it was just so shocking, and we're completely not culpable at all with Ruben. He's forced the issue, and he forced the issue in terms of leaving, but it was going in that direction. Like, what are we doing? And this is where you are right when you do see articles like this and go, look, I don't discredit the veracity of what's being reported here in terms of this is what these journalists have been told, but you then have to question about where the information comes from. Because it sounds very much like it's out of the mouth of a certain few people, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Because it paints people in a very specific light, which is just ridiculous. You wanted me to scroll up, Flex. What was I scrolling up to?
Yeah, it was just a bit about Newcastle. It was the bit that we was on before you got right. Basically, that he changed to a 4. He definitely changed to a 4-3-3 again, 4-2-3-1 against Newcastle, and this bit.
There you go.
Right. So, see, this is what I don't get, because actually he began to adapt, though. It's like he started doing what they asked and then went, actually, I'm changing my philosophy. What am I doing here? Fuck this. Because he says he did adapt. We all saw, we don't even need the Athletic to tell us this bit, but it's good to see it labelled like this, yeah? We all saw against Bournemouth that shape because we were talking about it. We were like, tell you what, it's this, it's back four, it's this. Then Newcastle United, 100%, we were like, tell you what, Dorgu, you know what I mean? Dorgdinho, he's playing from the right. We're playing 4-3-3. This is great. Then we got angry against Wolves at home. So we said, why did he change back? Why? And look at this. During talks of Antoine Semenyo, he told the Bournemouth forward he would play as a left winger in a 4-3-3. So what the hell is going on for Ruben? Why he started to change and then he just went back. But when Amorim reverted to his 3-4-2-1 for Wolves' visit, the half-time substitution of Xerxes, one of his few seniors, concerned members of United Heart. We all spoke about that change. About that didn't make sense. Like, why did you do that against bottom place Wolves? But in Amorim's, not in his defense, but he has literally started doing what they've asked him to do and started to adapt. And we started to see it be different. And he started talking about how, see, we'll change, but just not when you guys say, now we're going to start changing. And then he's got angry and then not changed. So maybe he started to change. And then he's, like that sort of hit yourself in the face. Ruben, you're probably having dreams, waking up saying, Ruben, you're losing yourself. Ruben, you're doing something. You said you're there. And he's like, this is really, really clear in my dream. Yeah. I need to go back to being Ruben. Fuck this. I'm off. And then he's just self-combusted from there.
I can also understand, though, from the player's perspective, like if you trained a back four all week and he's gone, right, we're going to change back 4-4-3-3, and you go, great, I don't like this formation. I don't think it's working. Only for on the match day goes, right, we're playing the back three. You'd be like, what the fuck have we been doing all week? What are we talking about? And it's not as if like it's, been revolutionary or anything like that over the last 12 months, which again is one of those ones where it's just like, okay. Super chats here from Amanor says, I'm not an Ineos supporter, but at least Jim cares. Look, the thing is, Amanor, with that is I think we all care. You know what I mean? We all care whether or not we're all qualified to be actually running. We always say this, don't we, about like the team. We can come on here and we can, we can share our opinion or what have you. But at the same time, it is a bit like whether or not that's the right call to be, running Manchester United is another thing, isn't it? Particularly when you talk about, best in class and what have you. That's when it does get a bit ridiculous. Let me get that there. So yes, and this is when we then start to get into, Flex, honestly, the talk about who could possibly obviously replace Ruben Amorim permanently. There's talks of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, which we'll get to a little bit later on. But also because obviously now Ruben's gone, everything that's negatively happened over the course of the last 12 months is now getting released. Like, so for instance, like the treatment of the bomb squad, right? The treatment of the bomb squad. Now there's kind of, there were people that were not totally on board with that, talks about David Gill talking about how was that the right idea, and talking about how maybe it had actually the treatment of said players had cost the club millions. It says so at United feel the treatment of Alejandro Garnacho, who departed Chelsea for 40 million, reduced his value by 15 million pounds.
I believe that.
It's something we did say in the summer, wasn't it? Yeah, we did say in the summer that it maybe had cost us a bit of money, but maybe it was still, you take the hit. I'm not going to go too wild on that because I still go, well, you sort of take the hit. The real one is kind of this, right? Last summer, United was so committed to Ruben Amorim, they were prepared to sell Kobbie Mainoo for £40 million. Mainoo is thought to be one of the big winners from Amorim's departure.
Oh, he definitely is.
Feeling he had no future under Amorim, the 20-year-old midfielder wanted a loan away, but he's now expected to stay. 40 million quid they were willing to let Kobbie Mainoo go.
They would have done it. They would have done criminals, bro. Criminals. And now they're trying to make out like, see, Amorim don't want to use this kid. Like, we're the heroes. We're not letting him. Fuck off. Everyone's had their price, man.
And it goes on talking about as well how Ruben Amorim wanted Emi Martinez instead. Got Lomans, and Watkins, but he didn't get them. You had Emi Martinez had support from some of United's team, including Leacher, no surprise, who went as far as lobbying for his signing to Jim Ratcliffe, as they were already in contact over his rehabilitation from an ACL injury. It aggravated Amorim, but United believe signing Lomans shows that figures such as Wilcox and Vavell are taking the long-term view. So it's these kind of things, isn't it? It's these kind of things that are going to build up over time. It says that Amorim continues to feel a reduction in his authority that might be attributed in part to the Glazers, who have been expressing their dissatisfaction over results as early as August, which, like you said earlier on, who gives a fuck about what they think? There are big questions for Barada, like we've been talking about recently, after he backed Amorim's appointment so decisively. Dan Ashworth, who was sporting director, initially recommended candidates with Premier League experience. Wilcox had reservations about picking a manager so wedded to a back three, but came round. Which is just, then you go into that and you go, well, the title on the thumb is chaos. That's your chaos you're seeing right there.
100%.
They hired someone that 2/3 of the senior structure didn't believe in at the time.
And then they came around to it anyway. Oh, go on then.
Yeah, go on then. Where's the plan? Where's the plan? What's the plan there? Like, you know what I mean? What is the plan? So this is when you get back into when they talk about, They've got this plan and Project 2028.
Bollocks.
Bullshit. They can't even agree on who's the best manager, who they want to hire. You know what I mean? It's just, it's great. And this is the one about when you get into specific issues as well, Flex, between players and Ruben. It says here, this is one that people will go, well, that's quite surprising. On occasions, though, Amorim responded positively to being challenged. He and Licha Martinez squared up to each other during training in December, in the period when United faced Crystal Palace and West Ham United. Martinez considered himself ready to start, and feeling Amorim was overlooking him, made his point in what was described as an intense manner. Thoughts on that?
An intense manner.
Is that just part of the course?
I think, listen, there's passionate guys. They're passionate guys. Like, things like that where people are, like, getting in each other's faces or having tear-ups in the dressing room, or I don't get, like, taken aback by that. Like, this is football, bro. Like, this happens fucking Sunday League. Like, you have it out with your team. You have it out with your teammates or whatever, even in manager, coaching and stuff. And then when that day is done, you fucking go to the cafeteria, you go pub, or you go whatever you're doing. You go for an Indian with the boys. That's fine. It's football. Yeah. Like, you're meant to do that. It's like when people get touchy when players are coming off and they've got face like a slapped ass, or they fucking throw the boots or whatever. Yeah. You can go optically, it just don't look good. But at the end of the day, it just shows passion, man. This is football. I don't care about people showing passion and aggression to the cause. Do you know what I mean? It's a big man sport. So, like, the stakes are high. Do you know what I mean? The stakes are high. So stuff like that. And then on top of that, everything's not going to be rosy in there, is it? Because look, he's changing the system. He's doing this. The players are fucking confused. Do you know what I mean? They're told one thing, then do another. You know, they're looking at above them. Ineos. I'd love to be in the players group, WhatsApp group, to see what they think about everything. Because there'll be little factions that are like, that Jason, they're fucking, he ain't got a clue, mate. I don't know, he's all lip service. Or there'll be some guy, I quite like him, actually, to be fair. He's all right. You reckon? You think he's all right? Some will be like, this Amorim guy ain't got a clue. Others will be like, nah, man, we just need a bit more. We need a bit more quality about this. No, they're not bringing no one in. I see what Ruben's saying. They'll be all over the place. But I did agree with, was it Scott or was it James who said it? Or was it someone else in the red carpet yesterday? This is the first time it's like, they didn't down tools. They didn't just stop running. Like, this is the first time. Yeah, they barely picked him up. But you know what I mean? Like, it looked like they were doing the best within that shit setup. Like, you know, the thing, maybe like run harder and like, you know, like press and like, why don't we go for it? Maybe that was an instruction from Amorim of like, stay in the mid block. We've got 5 at the back. You don't need to do that. I don't know. But I just feel that like they didn't just give up, because actually, luckily the league's shit, but that's why we are where we are in the league, and like we've been hanging on a little bit and showing a bit of fight.
Yeah, the starting 11, I think, was that's why every time we concede in a game, I'll go, it's not over yet, because the team has shown resilience. We scored a lot of late goals this season, so I don't think it's ever that they've given up in that regard. But it's not good enough a lot of the time as well. Where's Wally's been a member for 21 months, says, nobody addressing Meno and his family actions, liking posts and taking the piss out of Ruben. If it was Garnacho, everybody would be calling him out. I must say, I do agree with that. Where's Wally? I saw obviously Cobby liked some posts. I don't know if you saw that. He liked the post with all of the memes. I saw that his family were posting stuff, and it goes back to that situation again, isn't it?
Don't help him.
You just want to go to him and go, what are you gaining by doing a victory lap? And it's the same with Cobby. It was saying, you know, when Jose went and Pogba, you know, did the whole, what was the phrase? He F with the wrong man or something like that, you know, and when Ten Hag left, I'm sure there was. It's always the way, and you never look good doing it, right? You never look good, and I never know why they do it, because it's always going to get picked up, and you don't. Okay, you're doing a victory lap because someone lost their job. Come on, and I'll be honest, it does make you look at Cobby a little bit differently and go, you know, I get that you're a young guy, emotional guy, and it's not really worked out between you and Ruben, but you know, even if you don't like him, you don't have to go down that route. Show a bit of class. You know, that's going to be picked up. You know, and that is when people, I think, do look at once again, the culture and the attitude within Manchester United, particularly at those young players that come through the academy, and go, if you're this Man United, I've come through Carrington or whatever, you should know better. That's not tolerated around here, and that can't be tolerated around here. Personal issues or grudges aside, there is a level of professionalism. This is the thing, and this is how you know we're not biased here or just that and the other. I said it on national radio. That's why when Ruben said the thing about young players, okay, and I know that Cobby is not in the same bracket as Chido or Harry Amas. I'm not suggesting he is.
I'm just saying young, because Kobe's young. And the entitlement that you can like come out and say stuff like when you just got to keep working. There it is, your answer. I think Kobe's wicked.
By the way, I can't believe that a lot of people are actually defending that with Kobe. I mean, are we being serious here? Genuinely, Kobe has every right and all this kind of stuff. Like, Kobe can. It's not to say that he can't.
He has a right to feel like that, but to display it publicly, it's just distasteful.
There's a way to activate in the same way that when Ruben Amorim's like said dapping up photographers and stuff like that. I look at that and go, oh, that's not maybe the best way to react afterwards or whatever.
But I think
this is what I don't get, Flex, right, with United fans. We get so pissed off with youngsters and whatever about, they've got on social media, they've done this and done that. And really what it's based on is whether you like the player or not, isn't it? If it's Alejandro Garnacho, who we don't like, and he does it and his brother does it, that's wrong. But if it's a player that we do like, no, give him a pass. No. It doesn't matter who you are. If you're a Man United player, right, regardless if you like him or you don't like him, there is a way to act and a way to behave, and you've got to be professional. And he's a young guy, and hopefully he'll learn. But if you're liking things on social media, it's going to be picked up, and don't put it down to naivety. I had no idea that was going to be picked. I had no idea that was going to blow up. I mean, come on, what we doing?
No, this is his account. We have to keep this. And this is the same problem. Like with the regardless of food and manage, this is the same thing where we if we don't nip it in the bud because of favourites. We have the same problem with player power, or player like the player conduct. People can't pick and choose. You can't pick and choose. Like it's 100% right, because Kobe's more techie and we like Kobe more than Garnacho.
Yeah, and some people don't like Ruben as well, obviously.
And some people don't like Ruben. This is what I'm saying. I said it live on the radio. They're just confusing the hatred for Ruben to just okay anything. Yeah. Forget Kobe mainly. They were okaying a kid in Chido who ain't even made 10 senior appearances doing it. So if they're okay in that, then I'm not surprised that they're okay in Kobe. And Kobe, listen, Kobe is entitled 100%. Listen, we know what's going on within the family. It's not rocket science. We know this. We know what's going on in the family. The brothers come out wearing the fucking t-shirt. So we know what's going on within the Kobe household. But keep it quiet. Everybody tried to give you the benefit of the doubt by going, even Ruben in public, to be fair to him, gave you the benefit of the doubt, where we don't know what happened in private. He could have cussed you out, but in public, he still defended you and say, Kobe's not going to play against Villa because of what his brother done. I had a situation with my brother. He was fucking talking shit or whatever. I had to deal with that. Yeah. Kobe, his family members put the t-shirt on, not Kobe. He's not going to be on the bench because of it. He's not going to start. I'm just going to pick the best team. This is nothing on Kobe. He protected him in public. So now, as soon as he's sacked, you like things. You just don't need to do it. I'm with you, Kobe, in terms of I want you to be a success at this football club. I'm glad that actually you've ended up outlasting the manager, because I don't think that we were going in the right direction with this manager anyway. I think you do need to be freed in football terms, in terms of play more minutes, in football terms. But I don't agree with, we said it about when your bro did that, didn't agree with that, stupid, self-centered, and that hasn't got him sacked, by the way. I don't want to see anyone being like, oh, see, it was right. The t-shirt was the beginning of the end. No, it wasn't. But Kobe liking that doesn't help the situation. And Scott could say, sorry, Fletcher, you're wrong. That's fine. Everyone's got a different opinion. But I just think we have to keep the same energy. But the players are going to, amongst themselves, think he's an idiot. Of course they are. And they've got every right to.
Yeah, and look, I'm certainly not policing them to say that Kobe mainly don't feel that way. Kobe can feel however way he wants, and look, he can react however way he wants. But I just think we as a fan base need to be so careful. We've gone so far in so many different directions. Obviously, player FC for so long, and then in recent years, I've got to be completely honest. Yeah, manager FC has been fucking insufferable. It's been honestly the amount of people the last 12 months that have been telling me Ruben Amorim's great. Now to be like, well, actually, wasn't that great? Oh, come on.
That one's mad, isn't it?
You know what I mean? Mad. Yeah, it's crazy. And the reason we were so manager FC is because we were once so player FC, and we need to be careful of not allowing those things to be acceptable. So if it's not acceptable for Garnacho or for Rashford, it's not acceptable for Kobe. It doesn't matter if you like him, don't like him, like the coach, don't like the coach. You've got to, you know what I mean? That we have to keep the same energy, because the moment we start doing the playing favourites, it just all goes downhill. Where are we at? Tabaslo says, we need to get rid of these owners. We need new owners. Ranić, like SD, Ancelotti, Conte as manager, but everything is up to the local fan base, please. Werewolf Ghost says, I wholeheartedly back for Val over Amorim. It's a project, no short-term fixes. Flex as a season ticket holder, you should know the importance of confidence. Give time to, or as a striker, excuse me, you should know the importance of confidence. Give time to Sheshko. Alexander says, as Owen said,
I'm just saying he's not up to it yet.
These things build up. If you keep saying no to his transfers and it doesn't feel like his team, any manager would feel alienated. I think also it's a case of that, little things building up. And I also think it's Amorim seeing the writing on the wall going, this is too big for me. I'm going to get sacked eventually anyway. I'm going to go now. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is my chance. I'm out of here now. Nevin Green says, Wagwan. Remember what I said about Cheeto attitude, shake my head. And Amanor says, I'm so happy Val went for Lomans, but not Watkins. As far as who's next, because that's always the question, isn't it? It's about who's next, who's going to be the next person in permanently, short term, long term. This is where we're kind of at for some of the options. Now, according to The Athletic, they say that United will take their time on a new permanent appointment, potentially waiting until the summer when the contracts of Oliver Glasner at Palace, Andoni Iraola at Bournemouth, and Marcus Silva at Fulham are set to expire. So 3 managers there, contracts set to expire, which is kind of mad. Fletcher will get a chance to show his credentials, but a longer-term caretaker has not been ruled out, with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer even under consideration in what would be seen as an emotional comeback. So this is actually further now. Like yesterday, it was Ollie just basically going, look, I'm available. I'm available. Yeah. I'll happily do it. And you go, well, that's Ollie saying it. It's not as if they're considering it. Now the Athletics go, no, they're considering it. They're considering it.
Do you know what I think?
Wait a minute. Michael Carrick has been mentioned as a possible return, while Evans could be appointed to the club's coaching staff, possibly in time to assist Fletcher at Burnley tomorrow. Wilcox, who would lead the process, and Barada are aware that knowledge of United can be beneficial.
I think what would happen, being around the squad on like tours and like press stuff, you realize how involved Darren Fletcher was. Like before he was under 18s manager, he was part of the first team set up, even with Ruben.
Ten Hag.
He was Ten Hag. He was that
weird technical director, wasn't he? That was also on the coaching pitch, which was so bizarre.
Exactly. So it's one of those mixed match where they create the job description just to get him in there, but they're like, the club, so you just got roles, yeah. But we used to see, ask KG. KG will tell you, Josh will tell you, we speak to Darren all the time. We see him all the time because he used to sit, because of his role, you get the iPads, he's got the coach and stuff, he's looking at the thing. So he'd sit like either beside us, in front of us, behind us. Then when you get the lift down to where the dressing rooms are or to go to the mix zone or whatever, it's like the same, depending on what stadium you are in the world or whatever, it's often the same route. So we've been in lifts with Darren Fletcher loads of times. Right, Darren, he's good. He's always blessed and stuff. So he was involved of it around there. Like I say, jobs for the boys. But like, I think looking at that, what they might do is go, Darren's going to need help. Like, it's not really, we need to just get by and get some calm. So they do know that short-termism of some people who know the club has kind of settled things down. So they won't, I don't think they'll be against, let's just get Ollie in with Carrick, with Fletcher, like just the old guard, just to get the Man United thing going again, so we can have clear heads to think of the actual manager. I think they will. I think they're going to do it. I don't think Darren Fletcher sees this. You're on mute. I don't think they see Fletcher through to the end of the season. I think that they get this little Avengers assemble of the ex-players. I think it will be Carrick, Ollie, Fletcher, Evans. That's what I think.
I wouldn't be shocked with that. I think because really that's what Ollie was before. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a figurehead, and it was Kieran McKenna and Michael Carrick doing the coaching, the tactics, or anything like that. And Ollie was there to basically say, "Go out there, express yourselves," high fives, which they might do again. Which look, this is what I said last night. It does scare me. Not so much because it could go badly. It scares me because it could go well. As I've mentioned, we have, for the last 12 months, effectively been on a pattern of 1 win a month. One win a month. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer came in, or like even Darren Fletcher, right, and they go on a bit of a run where they win, say, 3 or 4 wins, right? 3 or 4 wins in a month, and they're on a bit of a roll. Say Frank gets a haircut. We have been so starved for such a long time that I worry about us getting giddy. You know what I mean? I worry about us being able to be rational enough to take a step back and go, what have we learned here, folks? Because you want to talk about the cycle, right? You want to talk about the cycle or whatever, but we do it. We do it. And I actually think if Ollie came in with the players at his disposal for the rest of the season, because you can't do too much. You're not going to do a huge tactical revolution or anything like that. You're going to do what he did before, which is go in, express yourselves, make people happy, play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, and he'll get results. You know what I mean? He'll get results. But it's just a case of don't fall into that trap. Do not fall into that trap.
Yeah.
Because it might... I'm just thinking for the short term, it could be great. You know what I mean? Pick up results, get Champions League football. Oh, fucking amazing. Look at this. Actually, it was so much better. Good. But long term, is it the best thing for us? What is the best thing for us in the long term? And that's going to be so difficult to do because if we do actually pick up real good form, we'll be euphoric because we haven't had that.
No,
in like
we will because we haven't had
years.
it. But then you just have to deal with that when it comes and just keep banging the drum of like, I know this is amazing. We've just beat Arsenal and Man City back to back. Like, I can't believe it. I know we're third. All this shit, however it looks. But just remember this. Just remember. And I would like to say, because I don't have faith in it, I would love to be able to sit on here and say, like you're saying, like, nah, they won't. They've learned from that. We won't do that.
I couldn't guarantee they haven't.
But with Ineos, I don't know anything.
There's no plan.
I don't trust them.
There's no plan, is there?
No.
So what's, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's no plan. I think their plan, they didn't, you know, for all it's worth, they didn't want to let Ruben Amorim go in January. It's because it all blew up, right? I think if they were going to let him go, it'd be the end of the season. So they're into uncharted territories now. They're without a net at this point, yeah? They are like, we don't have a plan now. So this is where you get rash and, you know, irrational decisions, don't you? That wasn't part of the plan. And that's where, you know, an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer or no long-term shit comes into it of like, right, let's make it up as we go along, which is scary. Very, very scary indeed. Speaking of scary, Flex, we've got over 2,200 people watching and we're not even at 500 likes. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Let's get to 1K likes. 1K likes.
Come on, 1K likes and we definitely won't get Southgate. Guaranteed.
Oh, God.
Guaranteed.
Click it now.
Guaranteed. This is it is going to be Darren Fletcher's press conference today.
Yes.
How do you think this is going to go? I was thinking about some of the things I think he would say. I mean, look, I think for him there's always pressure because it's Man United and he's aware of that. So it's not acceptable for him to lose to Burnley just because he's an interim coach. It's not. It's not acceptable to lose games. So we can't do that. But at the same time, the pressure on him and the scrutiny is not going to be anywhere near as what it should be because he's just walked into this mess, right? In terms of the head coach. I think that he's going to be like, I think he's just going to be privileged, calm. He won't say anything mad. Obviously, you talk about puppet or like, you know, yes, man. We have to expect Fletcher to be exactly that. He doesn't even have this. Yeah. This is not even his job. You're just filling in for 2 games as it stands. And maybe they'll look at how the 2 games go. I don't even know. And see and just get a little bit of a feeling. But I think he'll manage longer than the 2 games. That's for sure. I think he'll do City. I think he'll do Arsenal. Yeah. I can't see how, you know, Michael Carrick just comes and it's just unless it's Ollie, then it could just be done quick and it just because that's another reason why it might. We're gonna get Ollie, you know. We're gonna get Ollie.
I said last night. I think this idea that people going, Dylan was like, I'll get Carrick in. If it was Carrick or Ollie, then I would go probably Ollie because I'd be like, well, there's experience there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas Carrick, I know he was interim for like a couple of games, but and like you said, maybe it'll be both. Maybe it'll be both. I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case either. You know, fucking hell, imagine when we see Mike Phelan back on the bench again.
Oh,
good grief.
Anything can happen, bro. It's all there. It's all there to happen. Anything can happen.
Werewolf Ghost says, I'm absolutely fine with Ollie coming back for 6 months. History has been kinder to Ollie's tenure. It has, to be fair, a little bit. Yeah. Even though, PE teacher and all that. Could be good for Sheshko. Haaland still loves Ollie. And Dwayne says, we need a real manager for Champions League. Glasner, Iriola. Now get me bona fide manager. I don't care who, but a real manager. Well, look, Glasner's got European experience. He won Europa League. You know what I mean?
I'm just not sure, man. The Glasner thing, Iriola.
I'm not sure for anyone, I'll be totally honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure for anyone, but I know because everyone keeps talking about those two. Like, I don't know, man. It's hard because that cliche of like, this club's just different. Like Bournemouth's all great and you're doing all right, but this club's different. And I don't know, like Palace is and first trophy in their history, and I know Wolves, but I get it, but this is different. But the pool of managers out there these days that have been at the big clubs, are we really going to get those types of guys? Do you know what I mean? People like Nagelsmann.
I said that yesterday. I don't. No.
Are we going to get
even
them?
Deserby.
Right.
They look at the circumstances and go, no, I'm not interested.
So maybe
what Ineos are looking for. Ineos are looking for like a Solskjaer or a McKenna that's happy to be there. I'm happy to be here. This is a massive opportunity for me. Like Liam Rossini at Chelsea, where it's like, well, I shouldn't really be here, but so I'll just do what they tell me to do. And if it works out, great. It works out for me. If not, I shouldn't be in the hot seat anyway. I don't lose anything.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. I don't know. Obviously, we wish Darren the best. Hopefully, he can just keep a 100% record, do a rude, and you know what I mean, just do what he needs to do. But I don't know, man. It's worrying times. I just wonder how we're going to play. I do see what Dylan means a little bit of like, wonder how we're going to play. Wonder what's going to look like. I just want to see this game.
I don't know. I'm just not excited.
No, because you see us losing or drawing again, carry on the slump. You go, Ruben's gone. It's still shit. Like, you know, you're not expecting the big pickup, are you? You know what I mean?
No,
you're just not. No. But we'll see. We'll see.
Is that
all super chats?
Yes.
Done the last ones? Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. There you go, guys. Big up to yourself. There's not going to be a Flexing KG show this evening at 7. From Francesco Ferroli. That's the name.
It's from Porto, yes. Okay. And I'm going to be on Sky in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, by the way.
Yeah. Owen, check out Owen live on Sky in 5 minutes. Help him with the comments that will come his way from going on there, because the comment section will absolutely advocate for him being on there when it's on X and stuff. Yeah, have a good time.
Yeah.
This fraud doesn't represent me. Can you see that? Like,
there was a Man United fan said he hopes Man United lose forever because Flex was on Sky. He goes, really?
Absolute clowns, mate. Absolute clowns. Anyway, go and check out Owen over there. And we will see you guys. We've got a preview coming out as well because the game is tomorrow. And I'll probably do a reaction to Darren Fletcher's press conference to see what he says.
Yeah.
Let's see. Take care, peeps. We're out. Peace.